Let's take our Bibles to Isaiah 58:11. This passage deals with the reality that the Lord is our map and our provision for life. He's our direction, He's our guidance. And let me just say this, in its context, our passage this morning is a statement to God's people about how to enjoy the fullness of His grace as we live in a fallen, broken world. With all of God's promises, let me just say this, we have a contingency to accomplish. I think that's where people get caught. They think, well, God said He'll do this. And that's the only part of the verse they know or they read. But God says, I'll do this if you do this. If you stay this way, I will continue to be this way. And there's so many of those kinds of promises that believers take for granted as if they're universal and have no contingency to them. But as we'll see this morning, there are contingencies. Look at the passage that we have before us today in Isaiah 58:11. It says, "And the Lord shall guide thee continually and satisfy thy soul in drought, and make fat thy homes, fat thy bones, and thou shalt be like a watered garden and like a spring of water whose waters fail not." We live here in the desert, and so we know what happens when we go long periods of time without water. They start to ration, they get kind of nervous, and stuff starts to get brown, and we know what that's like. But we also know what it's like to have the flourishing during our fall, winter, and spring seasons, which are usually all green. And so it's really a powerfully comprehensive statement about the Lord being for those who live in obedience to His word. He isn't a quick fix or a charging station. We're so into charging stations now. Our cars have to have them. Our phones. If we don't for some reason remember to charge our phone, we have to know, hey, do you have a plug-in so I can charge my phone? Because we always want to charge because we're always on the device, but we don't want to be tethered to any wires anymore. We want to quick charge and then get back to whatever it is. Let me just say this passage doesn't have a quick fix. It's not a charging station per se, although it can be recharging. Listen, it's not for us to use and then go out on our own again. This is our new life pursuit, is what God is saying. God isn't unaware of our motives or true intentions. So instead of trying to get something from God so you can go do your own thing, listen, the Old Testament is filled with examples of people and nations that tried to use God. It just doesn't work. And so instead, we need to really surrender to Him and allow Him to be the purpose of our existence and the one we long to please. He doesn't promise easy living, but He does promise to sustain us through it all. Do you need direction? Surrender. Are you in a dry time or place in life? Surrender. God promises us all that we will find satisfaction in Him. That's all we need. Hope that helps. Enjoy a great day.